This is Fernando, and you're here with Dontaes Boxing Nation.
Right now, the welterweight division is looking good, especially with PBC. It seems like all the young lions is all in that PBC series. Keith Thurman, Sean Porter, Danny Garcia, Adrian Broner, and even, and other fighters coming up. Errol Spence. So it looked like it's going to be some Hagler, Hearns, Leonard, Duran type of stuff going on in the next year or so.
No, I think we're going to get no Hagler, Hearns, Leonard, Duran type of stuff. See, because you got those guys there right now in Pacquiao, Mayweather, Bradley, Porter, Thurman. But what you need those guys to fight each other. That's what's needed. And I'm not talking about a young guy like an Errol Spence or another guy that's just coming up to 47 like Danny Garcia. I mean some guys who have established themselves there and done some things there and showed and proved that they belong there, which Bradley has, which Pacquiao has, obviously Mayweather has, and I believe now Sean Porter was beating, I think, 3 former world champions, multiple world champions at that. Adrian was a multiple-time world champion. Devin won 2 different weight classes. Paulie Malignaggi did the same. Even when he fought Diaz had won world championships. Same thing holds true with Keith Thurman. Keith Thurman is an undefeated fighter with a great knockout record. He comes to fight every night, and so I believe those are the type of guys that need to be fighting each other in order to become legendary. And I don't see that's not going to happen with a Mayweather. That's not going to happen with a Pacquiao. That's not going to happen with a Bradley, even though those guys have fought each other. Now Bradley needs to, try to push for a fight with these other guys, and you got the situation with the different promotional companies suing each other.
Yeah, exactly. Now, me personally, I would love to see Mayweather versus Bradley, and I say that just because to me, that Fantastic Four or whatever would to me be Mayweather, Pacquiao, Juan Manuel Marquez, and Tim Bradley. And if you really think about it, they all kind of fought each other. The only ones that hasn't fought each other yet is Mayweather and Bradley. So I just think that would be a great fight right there. But when it comes to Mayweather and Pacquiao, you don't think they've already fought the type of fighters throughout their career that eventually the Keith Thurmans and the Danny Garcias are going to fight eventually? You don't think Mayweather and Pacquiao, they already fought those type of opponents like throughout their career?
No, what I'm saying is when you mention Hagler, Hearns, Duran, and Ray Leonard, they were in their era together and they fought each other in that same era. That's what I'm talking about. So, if you don't have Mayweather fighting those guys now and those guys fighting each other now, it's not the same thing. The guy has literally picked and choose who he wanted to fight, how he wanted to fight, and what type of style he wanted to fight. So that separates him. He separates himself from being in that type of. He doesn't want to be legendary like that. He's not going to take on those challenges like that. So I'm willing to take my kid. My kid is willing to take on those type of challenges. We're willing to fight Bradley. We're willing to fight Pacquiao. We're willing to fight Thurman. We're willing to fight Garcia and put ourselves in that category. I don't see, Mayweather doing that. He's not going to do that. So if he did that in his career, then you name those 4 guys that went off and fought each other and did what they did, like Hagler, Hearns, and Duran and Leonard. I don't see that. So, I don't think the next crop of guys that come along behind the Porters or the Thurmans, I don't think those next crop of guys, they're not there yet. We don't see them yet. You see a young kid in an Errol Spence, but we see a kid with maybe 50 rounds of boxing? Come on, man. We can't put him in there and say that he belongs in that class. And if you put him in there and he belongs in that class, then he'll have to fight those guys and prove that. So that hasn't happened to him yet. He hasn't had, those victories over those world champions, or he hasn't even fought that class 1 guy yet. He hasn't fought that one guy at that level yet. You know.
So if you could pick some fighters today, who do you believe will end up having a better resume than Floyd Mayweather, and not just the resume, but actually beating them? Who do you think will end up having a better resume than Floyd Mayweather?
Probably nobody's going to have a better, record.
No,
But,
no, I'm saying resume. I mean, I'm talking about resume from the Diego Corraleses to moving up, fighting the bigger Canelos, the Manny Pacquiao being fighter of the decade, and he was like pound for pound number 2 or 3 when Floyd Mayweather fought him, and Floyd beat all those guys. I'm saying, who do you think today will end up having?
There won't be anybody. Your question's already answered before you asked me the question, Dante.
No,
there won't be anybody. You know there's nobody there that has that. But what I'm saying is, name the 4 that he's going to fight or has fought in a round-robin situation that puts him in the same category with Hearns, Hagler, Leonard, and Duran. He didn't do that. That's what I'm saying. That's different. We're not talking about who he's fought over the body of his career. I'm talking about who he fought to make himself great in that era that was great. That's what I'm talking about. There's a difference. The difference of those guys was all of those guys were great fighters, and they all chose to fight each other.
I mean,
he's a great fighter that just chose to fight who he fought, but he didn't choose to fight the other guys that may have been great during his era and put all them together at that same time. So maybe Pacquiao being one of them, possibly. I don't really think that Diego was great in that era. I mean, great like with a top 4 guys in his era. I don't think you put Diego, God rest his soul. I don't think you put him in the same category. You don't.
But they did have him pound for pound like number 5 in the world when Floyd Mayweather fought him.
You don't put him in. I'm saying, in my opinion, you don't put him in there with a Hagler, Hearns, Leonard. That's what I'm talking about.
Okay.
That's what I mean. Mayweather within himself is in that category, but the other guys are not. You understand what I'm trying to say?
I hear you. No, I hear you. I hear you.
No, Mayweather within himself, yes. But
Uh-huh.
the other guys are not the Hagler, Hearns, Leonard. That's what I mean.
Okay.
They're not those guys.
But Kenny, I talked to Mike McCollum, the body snatcher. He told me that all those guys, Duran, Hearns, Leonard, they all avoided him. And then, of course, we already know about the Aaron Pryor situation. I mean, can it be a simple case that because, Hagler Hearns is embedded in our head, that's yesteryear, that's classic, legendary stuff, and you already have more respect for it because, it's like in the past, you know what I mean? Like wine, like they say, wine tasting better when it's when it's older. You know what I mean? Could it be a case like that at all, or what?
I can agree with you on that because as you gave me some information that I didn't know that they avoided Mike McCallum. Now I thought Mike was a lot heavier than all of those guys, but maybe there was talk of them doing something, in a different catchweight or something. I thought Mike was middleweight.
No, yeah, I'm gonna send you the link. I interviewed him. He broke it down. He said he was the mandatory.
I thought he was 160, wasn't he?
No, well, eventually he moved up to 160, but he told me in the interview that he was the mandatory for Hearns, I believe, and he was the mandatory for Duran, and he said they gave up the belt rather than not fight him. So and he said Hagler.
I'm in agreement with you there that if you don't have all of the facts and you don't include all of the guys that were great and Mike was great, then you may be slighting somebody somewhere. And someone may not have had the leverage to make the fight, and they get left out. And I think Mike White might have been that guy, and he might have been too dangerous for those guys. So I'm not, by no stretch of the imagination, am I not saying Mayweather's not great? Yes, he's great. I just said the other guys that we would be trying to put with him to fight him, and I don't think that that's going to happen. So I think obviously he's at the end of the deal anyway. And it's literally a deal that, he made to fight one more fight. If he comes back after that, that remains to be seen. So we take him out of the equation, and now what do we have? We got the Pacquiao, we got the Bradley. I don't think Marquez is coming back. I could be wrong. And then you got a couple of younger guys coming up, which will be Porter and Thurman. But it's going to take those guys to fight each other in order to be great and make their own era great. It's going to take those guys to fight each other and not just, not just Sean fight Keith. Sean fight Keith and Keith fight Danny and Danny fight Sean and Danny fight whoever else, or if Errol is able to creep his way in there. You understand what I'm trying to say? They have to make each other great.
No, absolutely, and that was my original question, actually, Kenny. I was talking more about like your generation, like your son's generation, because to me, since Mayweather is only like a fight away from being out the door, I'm now looking at the new generation coming up, and I was saying that it looks like you guys have a good circle of fighters that can do something like a Hagler Hearns eventually, where it's all these talented welterweights right now, so. Hopefully we see that.
Well, and this is just my opinion. I don't think that you could put, and I'll use my kid for the first example. I don't think you can put Sean in the same conversation of that type of likeness with those guys if he doesn't get a chance to fight Mayweather, if he doesn't get a chance to fight Pacquiao, if he doesn't get a chance to fight Bradley, if he doesn't get a chance to fight those top guys. Even though they're on their way, if he doesn't get to fight them, I don't think you get to put him in the same type of category and conversation. Now, if we look up 4 to 5 years from now and Keith continue to be dominant, Sean was dominant, and let's say Danny was dominant, and Errol came along, and they all were able to fight each other, it creates another era within itself, but how great it'll be, we don't know until it actually plays itself out. I'm just saying that I believe, obviously, Floyd Mayweather, pound for pound, best fighter in the world, is great. I believe that he's shown that numerous occasions, and then you've got a Manny Pacquiao, and then you've got a Tim Bradley. I think one of these other guys needs to sneak in there and try to challenge them, but if they're not given that opportunity, then it doesn't happen.
Yeah, I agree with that. You were real honest with that one, but no, I can't. But
Floyd is Floyd, class by itself. Manny obviously didn't pull that off against Floyd, so he's just that level right beneath him. Bradley and him split, and Bradley's right there, but just that level underneath. And then Bradley doesn't get an opportunity to show us against Floyd. Then we'll never know, but I want Sean to get that opportunity to go up against Brandon. I want Sean to get that opportunity to go up against Thurman. I want him to get that opportunity to go up against Pacquiao. Let's be great.
Yeah. And I mean, do you think any of the fights can happen though? I mean, Mayweather, Bradley, Mayweather. Do you think it's a possibility that any of those fights could happen with Sean Porter?
Bradley, maybe.
Yeah.
Because he's the type of guy that I can bump into in the casino and say, man, come on, let's fight. He would go for it. Mad, crazy props, respect to him. Again, like I said, Mayweather in the class by itself. If I see him in the casino, I ain't going to bump into him. I got respect for him like that. But Sean and Keith, I fully expect them to fight.
Yeah.
I fully expect that to happen. Hopefully here in the near future real soon. Danny, he don't want the smoke, but I'm letting him know where there's smoke, there's fire. He can get both of them. He'll burn his ass up if he steps in the ring with Sean. And if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. But definitely, I know Keith's looking forward to it. So we expect that to happen.
Oh yeah, and by the way, I believe Tim Bradley, he got a chance to watch some of the documentary that we did, my little version of All Access, Porter versus Broner, and he said, after watching, he has a lot of respect for Sean Porter, and he really likes him. What do you think about him saying that?
Well, you know what? Let me say this about Tim, and let me say this about Floyd, and Manny as well. All of these guys are guys that I've met. I've had a chance to be around them and just be, some a little bit more than others, just for a few minutes, and some, Manny obviously a number of weeks. But all of these guys respect their craft. They're individuals unlike each other. Manny's nothing like Floyd. Floyd's nothing like Bradley. Bradley's nothing like Pacquiao. Bradley's nothing. And they're all individuals. I respect all of them. I think they're great fighters. Also great people. And they're different. They're different guys, totally different guys. And I just want the opportunity to fight them. I hope that it happens. I really want, to find out what happens there when you put Tim Bradley and Sean Porter in the ring, just mirroring each other and just going at it. I would love to see that, man. Come on.
Spontaneous combustion right there.
Hey, explosion right in the center of the ring,
Yeah.
Irresistible force and immovable object. They meet and collide, So, hey, 15 is almost over. We're going to finish this year. Sean Porter's going to finish the year with a bang. Somebody with a big name, we got to close this show out.
Yeah.
Adrian Bronner, we just took care of that, and we were moving on to the next one. We are in excellent shape. We expect to be able to fight in 6 weeks. And the only reason I'm saying 6 weeks is because, that's the biggest stage right here in Las Vegas, Nevada, in 6 weeks.
Man, why don't you get your strength and conditioning coach to help out your boy Mike Donna so he could get in shape and get back in the ring?
You know what? The name came from the top. I ain't saying no names, but the name came from the top and said to me, you want Mike Donna? And I said, well, I would like to say yes, but we got to get him, off the farm or whatever it is that he, I heard he done bought horses and cows, and he's a rich man in his country, and he's enjoying his life, and it's, they got to get him back, all the way back. He is, Argentina living it up. So, yeah. Hey, I got to run on in here, brother. It's a pleasure talking to you. Dontaes Boxing Nation, man. I was watching some of your stuff while sitting in the airport waiting on my flight today.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it, dog. I appreciate it, man.
Got that little tune going in my head.
That's what it is.
The little tune that comes on when the lady saying Dontaes Boxing Nation or the boxers are saying it.
Yeah.
I still got that stuck in my head from watching, a lot of your stuff this morning.
That's what's up, man. I appreciate it, man. I appreciate you plugging it too, man.
Absolutely. Dontaes Boxing Nation. Yeah, give me on one of them commercials with one of them girls. Or two of them.
We gonna set that up. I'm gonna bring them to you too, man.
All right, brother. We'll talk soon.
All right, man. All right, thanks, Kenny. All right, man. Later, man.
Bye.